Okay guys, so you've started to add some colored pencil to these. Now we're going to start to add tissue paper, and you can kind of go back and forth on different days. If your tissue paper is wet, you don't want to use colored pencils because it doesn't really work so well and it can make it kind of mucky. You can also even put a hole in your paper, so if it's wet, just stay with tissue paper for that whole day, but you can always start the day with colored pencils. So here I am. I've been working on my words in color in the colored pencils, and I have some colored pencils here with me so I can, work into the words. Oops, my colored pencil broke. Work into the words, work into the small areas that are going to be hard for me to get tissue paper in, like the face, okay, etc. And you don't have to use realistic colors at all. You can use colors that match your skin tone. You can use blue, make your person blue. You can make it unrealistic too. But do try to get in around the words in the small areas. When you're ready for tissue paper, I have a bunch of tissue paper here. I've decided on a color scheme, so I'm going to go with, let me raise this up a little so you can see. I'm going to go with blues and oranges and yellows, and so I grabbed some of those. It's important to try to keep them away from your paper, so maybe we'll have like a bin in the center of each table for those, but you do want to choose a color scheme. The ones that you looked at, the examples from the past, those didn't really have a color scheme, but you do want to think about yours. So I've started in these yellows and oranges here. I'm going to keep going with yellows and oranges. So I'm going to take some of this orange here, and I'm going to take just little bits of it. I want to cut it really small. I actually have some pointed pieces that I can sort of fit into areas here, and I can actually see the Sharpie through here a little bit. Let's see how it goes when I add my paste. So we have paper mache paste, which is clear. You can't see it. It's in a pink container, and it's like a gel. If you made masks with me in 6th grade, I don't know if we did that year, but that's the same stuff. You've probably used this before. So you're going to take your brush and dip it into the paste and hold the tissue paper down, and you're going to paint it over this. Now the tissue paper runs, and sometimes it moves like that. Sometimes it folds. Just go with it. Let it have a little bit of an organic life to it. If the brush has colors you don't like in it, because sometimes like the colors live there, you can wash it off. And I'm noticing that this particular color I can see the words through, which is so cool. So I'm going to just put it over the words because it looks really nice if you're able to do that. Some colors we won't be able to do that with, but that's kind of cool. So I'm going to bring my yellow into here and kind of blend it into the yellow colored pencils I had going on. Certain colors are not going to have this quality, but the lighter ones apparently do. Not too many layers of it over the words because I want to be able to still see the words. But I am blending yellow and the orange together. I'm also going to grab some of this peach and kind of blend that between. I'm going to go slowly though because I'm not sure if this is a color I won't be able to see through. Oops, it moved. That's okay. And then, right now my brush has a lot of orange in it, so I don't want to use the blue yet. So I'm going to wait and do, I'm probably going to have blues contrasting here, but I don't want to do it right away because I don't want the orange and the blue to come together because they're complementary colors, and so therefore they can make brown together, which doesn't work so well. So now that I'm seeing that a lot of these colors are working on this, if we just do one layer, I'm going to say go ahead and try the tissue paper even before the colored pencil. We can add the colored pencil later, but play with this tissue paper. Think about, again, the color scheme. So I've got, oranges and yellows, and then later I'll blend out. I'm going to blend, into whites here, and I can go right over my picture. That's okay too. And eventually, as I get into the whites, I'm working this orange out of my brush. If I were you, I'd go to and you can use a little bit bigger of pieces. Don't use huge pieces because it looks sloppy. If I were you, I'd go to the sink and wash this out, but I'm not going to stop the video to do that. I can blend in some gray into the white, So I'll put some gray down now. That looks really, really obvious, you know, the end of it there. So I might try to get some layers of white over that so it blends into the white a little bit more. I might even bring some of the peach over that so it blends together. And I can work around this. I'm starting to pull some blues out of this gray so I can bring some blues into it too. And there's a really nice light blue here. There's some awesome, awesome tissue paper colors that you can kind of blend together. This is so exciting that we can see the Sharpie. Just don't do too many layers because you can see we're starting to lose it there. Like I said before, some brands of tissue paper you can see through and some you can't. And it looks like we're actually able to see through this. Let me try a darker color. This dark blue. I'm going to overlap these. And again, it doesn't have to go within the clothing. It can kind of overlap. Okay, the dark blue is a little harder to see through, but I can still see through it. And this color bleeds a lot, so this is a good place for me to stop and wash my brush off. But you do want to get tissue paper wherever you can. This is really, really fun, so have a nice time with this.